I'm sick of living in this world. This shit is driving me insane. All the hatred, all the bloodshed, all the anger and the pain. They try to pump us full of fear, but I will not let them frighten me. And I'ma keep on fighting till I ain't got no more fight. I'm sick of living in this world. This shit is driving me insane. All the hatred, all the bloodshed, all the anger and the pain. They try to pump us full of fear, but I will not let them frighten me. And I'ma keep on fighting till I ain't got no more fighting me. Rule number one, I'll never follow any rules. Cause if I wanna do something, I'll do it if I choose. And part of it is just principle. Hard to get cause I'm sensible. That's the reason I believe I'm a targeted individual. Our reality's fictional. This is all just a lie. We're all controlled by the pinnacle of the all-seeing eye. And if you ever wake up to this, you just live with the burden. You must unlearn what you have learned, but then there is no returning. You always feel something burning deep in the core of your mind, because you know if you go looking that there's more you can find. So you research all the time and see things are not what you thought. But no matter what truth you discover, you're not gonna stop. You're on the ultimate quest to find what's real and what isn't. Sometimes it's hard to recognize the beast when living up in it. But hey, you did it, you made it, no longer stuck in the matrix, only to realize that it sucks and you hate it. I'm sick of living in this world. This shit is driving me insane. All the hatred, all the bloodshed, all the anger and the pain. They try to pump us full of fear, but I will not let them frighten me. And I'ma keep on fighting till I ain't got no more fight. I'm sick of living in this world. This shit is driving me insane. All the hatred, all the bloodshed, all the anger and the pain. They try to pump us full of fear, but I will not let them frighten me. And I'ma keep on fighting till I ain't got no more fighting me. They tell the truth in the movies and then they lie on the news. When I say they, I mean the Jesuits and Zionist Jews. So I gotta let the humans know we're living in the Truman Show. They bend us over backwards and they screw us in the booty hole. Tax us to death until we have nothing left. And that's just one of the many ways that they have us oppressed. We haven't progressed. Advanced tech, they have it suppressed. I don't feel blessed. This situation just has me depressed. We the people are deceived and I'm pursuing the proof. Three things cannot be hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. What a surprise, you finally uncovered the lies. You can spot the puppets cause they cover one of their eyes. They are traitors to humanity. New World Order sellout. We don't want you here no more, so you can get the hell out. The world is just a stage and now we're booing you off, because we're done with all this bullshit, so stop. I'm sick of living in this world. Shit is driving me insane. All the hatred, all the bloodshed, all the anger and the pain. They try to pump us full of fear, but I will not let them frighten me. And I'ma keep on fighting till I ain't got no more fight. I'm sick of living in this world. This shit is driving me insane. All the hatred, all the bloodshed, all the anger and the pain. They try to pump us full of fear, but I will not let them frighten me. And I'ma keep on fighting till I ain't got no more fighting me.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. I can go anywhere. Friends to know, reading rainbow. I can be anything. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. A reading rainbow. A reading rainbow.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to REL Reads Rainbows. Today, we are going to continue our original book. We are reading King's Dethroned. We had a week off last week because I was still in Flagler Beach, Florida. Whoop, whoop, for Flatlantic 2. Yes. If you were there, go ahead and just give a shout out because it was awesome. It was so awesome. I was so happy to be there. But yeah, I was driving back on Tuesday night because I stayed in Florida for a couple of days. And through the new year, lived it up with all my Flat Earth family and had such a blast. Oh, such a blast. And now we're back on track. We are picking back up with 5 and 6. I tried a little new intro there. I'm trying to get a timer. I don't know. I feel like shows should have like a uniform, introduction and outro, things like that. I'm trying to keep up with everybody else. Awesome. Awesome Austin has great show stuff, and Karen and Dose of Reality. And mine will come. I know I've got some theme songs in the works and all that stuff, but also thinking about other logistics too, like timers and countdowns and stuff like that. I've got so many friends who are helping me out, so I appreciate it, but wanted to see how it went if I played another Flat Earth song. I think it went all right. If anybody did not like the music, it's tough. Because I like ODD and I like his music, and I know that he does use some language, and I hope that doesn't offend too many of my viewers. But just know that here we will try to keep it as classy and clean as possible, but it's also adult. So, yeah, this is not a children's channel. So if you expect it to be a children's channel, then I would change the channel. Okay, so... Now that we have gotten all that out of the way, chapters 5 and 6 of King's Dethroned, the books are in the description if you want to follow along. On a printed copy, we are on page number 23 of chapter number 5. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Miss Jennifer and Zulu1. I've seen you guys so far. Thanks for saying hi, stopping by. Appreciate it. And for everyone else, hope you catch up soon. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump right on in. Try to get this Tuesday reading underway. Chapter 5, The Distance to the Moon. Let us pass on to something more important, the measurement of the distance of the moon, the first of the heavenly bodies to be measured. This was performed by Landel and Lassiel in the year of 1752 using the method of direct triangulation. Landel took one of the observations at Berlin, while Lassiel took the other at the same time at the Cape of Good Hope, a straight line or a chord joining these two places, giving them a baseline more than 5,000 miles in length. The moon was at a low altitude away in the west. The two observers took the angles with extreme care, and at a later date they met, compared notes, and made the necessary calculations. As a result, the moon was said to be 238,830 miles from the Earth and to be 2,159.8 miles in diameter, the size being estimated from its distance. And these are the figures accepted in astronomy the world over at the present day. So just with those first two paragraphs, I see here that two dudes took a chord that was like 5,000 miles in length between them, tried to take some more calculations, and then compared notes and said that the distance was this and that the diameter was this based off of those calculations. Seems a bit, well, let's just keep reading. Why don't we? I have occasion to call the reader's attention to the fact that some books, Proctor's Old and New Astronomy, for example, in describing the principle of how to measure the moon, illustrated it by a diagram which differs from our diagram 8. So let me go ahead and bring on diagram 8. You guys know that I remember to take pictures for you. Let me make sure it looks the right way. And we shall bring it on up. Bring it on up. All right, so let me make it bigger for you. I can do that. There you go. Okay, so this is diagram 8. If you see on the left-hand side is the moon with the little circle, and then the bigger world, of course, is supposed to be where we are, but that's not what it looks like. Okay, so I have occasion to call the reader's attention to the fact that some books, Proctor's Old and New Astronomy, for example, in describing the principle of how to measure to the moon, illustrated by a diagram which differs from our diagram 8. Though the principle as it is explained in this book seems plausible enough, it would be impossible in practice for the diagram to though the principle as it is explained in those books seems plausible enough, it would be impossible in practice, for the diagram they use clearly shows the moon to be near the zenith. Further, it is often said that the distance to the moon has been several times measured, but the fact is that it is of no consequence whether it has or not, for it is the result obtained by Landau and Luciel, which is accepted by astronomy, and their observations were taken, as I have stated, and illustrated in diagram 8. Moreover, one of the greatest living authorities on astronomy tells us that their work was done with such precision that the distance of the moon is positively settled and is known with greater accuracy than is the length of any street in Paris. Nevertheless, we will submit it to the test. Like, seriously, this guy goes to say that the distance of the moon is positively settled and is known with greater accuracy than the length of any street in Paris. How can you say that when the way that we came up with the distance is literally just by observation and is not provable and measurable and or repeatable? I mean, they never did the experiment again. Okay, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. So, what's this guy's name? Hickson. Hickson says, nevertheless, we will still submit it to the test. There is every reason to believe that the practical work of these two Frenchmen was mostly admirably done. Sorry, I add words and I add ends of words to things. So that's why it's... I have to start and stop sometimes. there is every reason to believe that the practical work of these two Frenchmen was most admirably done, and yet their labors were reduced to naught, and the whole object of the triangulation was defeated, because in making the final computations, they made allowances in order to conform to certain of the established false theories of astronomy. So they made allowances in order for it to fit better the false theories that they are already aspired to try to make it fit. One of these is the theory of atmospheric refraction. Oh, atmospheric refraction. Okay, all right. So we're getting to something I have heard of or read about. The theory of atmospheric refraction, which would have us believe that when we see the moon or the sun low down on the horizon at sunrise or sunset, it is not really the sun itself that we see, but only an image or mirage of the sun reflected up to the horizon by atmospheric reflection. The real sun being at the time at the extremity of I'm trying to do better also about not apologizing for things. My brother Eric reminded me or tried to drill that home with me while we were in Florida for Flat Atlantic, because I apologize for existing, and I just, you just got to own up to who you are and how you are and what you do. And, if I need to read this one sentence 5 times in order to understand it, then I will, because there's nothing wrong with that. And this is, so I don't need to apologize for that. So I'm going to try to stop apologizing so much, you guys. It's hard. Okay. Okay, where was I? These sentences are so long. Okay. One of these is the theory of atmospheric refraction, which would have us believe that when we see the sun or the moon low down on the horizon at sunset or sunrise, it is not really the sun itself that we see, but only an image or mirage of the sun reflected up to the horizon by atmospheric refraction. The real sun being at the time at the extremity of a line drawn through the center of the earth 4,000 miles below our horizon. That is according to the astronomy taught in all schools. According to this theory, there is at nearly all times some degree of refraction, which varies with the altitude of the body under observation. I don't see why you did that. Okay, according to this theory, there is at nearly all times some degree of refraction which varies with the altitude of the body under observation. So that, in simple, the theory declares that the real moon was considerably lower than the moon which Landel and Lacaille actually saw, for that was only a refracted image. They had, therefore, to make an allowance for the atmospheric refraction. They had to find, by theory, where the real moon would be, and then they had to modify the angles they had obtained in practical triangulation by making an allowance for what is known as Equatorial Parallax. Equatorial Parallax. Wait a minute, guys. Okay. Hey, ho, hey, Jen. You're welcome. Of course. Jennifer, I appreciate you for being here. Hey, Dr. Law. Hey, bro. Then Tommy, that flat fellow. Appreciate y'all for showing up. I know, right? Refraction. Equatorial Parallax. Yeah. So I'm this sentence right here is what was making me laugh. That they not only does this atmospheric refraction mean that they have to make allowances for where the real moon was, but they also had to modify their triangulations, which they got in order to fit something else. This parallax. Oh, but he goes on to explain it. Parallax. 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 Am I saying it right now? Parallax. 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 Relax. Okay, he says equatorial parallax is defined as the apparent change in the direction of a body when seen from the surface of the Earth as compared with the direction it would appear to be in if seen from the center of the Earth. It is difficult not to laugh at theories such as these, but I can assure the reader that astronomers take them quite seriously. If we interpret this rightly, it is suggested that if Landau and Lacaille will imagine themselves to be located at the center of the Earth, they will perceive the moon to be at a lower altitude than it appeared to them when they saw it from the outside of the Earth. And modern Copernican astronomy required that on their return to Paris, they should make allowances for this. Now observe the result. I just can't, man, really. Bear of your wax, I know, right? Meaning equatorial declaration at 0 degrees on the horizon. Tommy says, right. Oh, and I have the same picture up. Let me take this down. Basically, Tommy, you're saying that we're starting at the horizon at 0 degrees on the horizon from the center of the Earth. Right? I don't know. You're the genius between the two of us. That's you. I'm not even sure what apogee is. Oh gosh. Oh, you said exactly. So I'm glad. I think I got something correct there. I'm okay with it. Let me get the next diagram up. For change. What? Well, I didn't need that open. And I didn't need that open either. Okay. Sorry, guys. Bear with me here. I have my pictures. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. There it is. Looks like it's gonna come around eventually. Alright, but I don't want the rest of this. Isn't this so much fun? Just sitting here waiting for REL to get together. Waiting to get it together. Because she's gotta figure out how to screen share and Get it on. All right, this is what we do when we're nervous, apparently. Okay. All right, so thank you. Oh gosh. Tommy, I'm glad I could kind of understand that. So please let me know if I'm still on the right track. And this is the next diagram. So where did we leave off? Oh yes, Mr. Hickson said that it has been shown that the equatorial parallax is only concerned with with altitude. It is a question of higher or lower. It has to do with observations taken from the top of the Earth compared with others taken theoretically from the center. Really, it is the imagery triangulation where the line EP in diagram 9 becomes a baseline. The line EP is vertical. Therefore, it follows the theoretical triangulation by which equatorial parallax is found, by which equilateral parallax is found is in the vertical plane. Okay. So the line EP is vertical. Y'all see this EP line down in the middle here? Okay, and then therefore it follows that the theoretical triangulation, which is EP for equilateral parallax. Okay, that would make sense. We could just call it EP from now on, and I can stop trying to kill myself trying to say it. Equatorial parallax, EP, is the vertical line. Okay. We remember, however, that the moon was away in the west when seen by the Frenchmen, while their baseline was the chord, a straight line running north and south, connecting Berlin with the Cape of Good Hope. These facts prove their triangulation to have been azimuth, that is, in the horizontal or nearly horizontal plane, indicated by the baseline BC in diagram 9. Okay, so nearly horizontal plane, horizontal line. Okay, so EP is supposed to be the distance between it's just I'm confusing myself. The EP is just the equilateral parallax, and then the BC is the line between the two Frenchmen, the Cape Cod and Berlin. So, it's still a sphere. They still have a circle. What's azimuth mean? I feel like I might have looked this up before. If I have, I need to start like a running list of vocabulary words that I'm learning as I read these books. Azimuth. Azimuth. I feel like, boys and girls, we're going to have so many awesome vocabulary words. Am I saying it correctly? Yep, I did. We did look this up. Okay, I thought so. Okay, so I need to keep a running list because I forgot already what this meant. Let me bring it back up. Let's see. I will screen share again. Tommy says it's like the direction of a celestial object. Oh, see, when you say things, you just put it in plain terms. And I'm reading this book, right? And it's like written from 19 whatever, and the language is just different. Okay,
azimuth.
It is azimuth, an arc of the horizon measured between a fixed point. Yeah. Okay, I do remember that. You guys see this here? Can you all see that? All right, let's go back. I had... Okay. Now that we're all caught up, the facts prove that their triangulations have been in azimuth, and that is at the in the horizontal or nearly horizontal plane indicated by the baseline BC in diagram 9. Now, the three lines of any and every triangle are necessary in the same plane, and so it follows that every calculation or allowance must also be in that plane. But we find that while Lindley and Lassell's triangulation to the moon was in the horizontal plane BC, the allowance they made for atmospheric refraction and equatorial parallax was in the contrary vertical plane EP. By that almost inconceivable blunder, real and imaginary angles came into conflict in two different planes, so the triangulation was nearly lost, and as a consequence, the distance to the moon is no more known today than it is at the time of the flood. NB. All other attempts to measure the distance to the moon since that time have been defeated in a similar manner. Y'all, the more we read this book, the more I'm just like, how many people have come and touched this astronomy, measuring triangulation, and just and what? Not seen how errors have been made or something like that? Like, I just don't understand how so many people could... It's not real science to me if you can just, we'll just make allowances, we'll make some smudges, we'll adjust for this over here and for this over here, right? Because then you can make it fit anything. This guy is saying that all attempts to measure the distance to the moon have been defeated, all because they try to take too many things into account, basically. Atmospheric refraction and equatorial parallax and all that stuff. So that was the end of chapter 5. That was just about the moon, about how the distance to the moon is not known and has never been known and is not known today. Ain't that nothing? Moving right along to chapter 6, and excuse my congestion. Let me just take a sip. Hey, Tommy. Cheers, Tommy. I thought about trying to catch up on the news. I might still. Where do you watch it? Tommy, if you're still listening to me, can you tell me where you go to watch the new season of Doctor Who? This is definitely a little rabbit trail sidebar, guys. Don't mind me. I'm just talking to my bro, okay? So while What'd you say? I don't know. I'm reading chapter 6. Chapter 6 is entitled Romantic Theories. Romantic Theories. Cheers! He says, this history of the evolution of astronomy would not be complete if we omitted to mention here the fact that though the French school of astronomers had been foremost in adopting practical triangulation, it was not until the British took up the work in 1783 that the triangulation of the Earth was seriously begun. Ooh, red flag! Red flag! You want to know why this is a red flag? Because when the British come and they get involved, things don't go well. Things don't go well. I want to do a stream one day about talking about how America is supposed to be disconnected from England, or how they were supposed to be disconnected from England, and then they like proceeded to name like towns after like, listen, we ain't really get not I train of thought, but we did not really sever ties is what I was trying to say. And then I got distracted because I saw Flat Fellow responded to me. Okay. HBO. Yeah, that's where my sister goes. I got the Rona, y'all. No, I don't. Shut up. I did not say that. Don't anybody say that. It's such a real thing. It's such a real thing that's going on out here. You know, nobody catches the cold anymore. There's no such thing as the flu. You know, cancer's been eradicated. There is no such thing as dying of anything else but Rona. It's real. All right. So now that we have established that the triangulation of the Earth only began after the British took over for real in 1783, at about this time, Immanuel Kant was laying the foundation of the Nebular Hypothesis. I swear I'm not on anything. I swear I'm not. It is literally just me stumbling over my words 97% of the time, because my brain tries to continue reading when I haven't finished reading the word that hasn't come out of my mouth yet. That's, it's just, I need to slow down sometimes. Okay. At about the time Immanuel Kant was laying the foundation for the Nebular Hypothesis, the theory that the Earth and the planets were created by the sun, Sir William Herschel became interested and carried the thought further. But the Nebular Hypothesis may be said to have been still only in a nebulous state until it was taken up and developed by the brilliant French mathematician and astronomer, the Marquis de Laplace. According to this hypothesis, there was a time, ages ago, when there was neither Earth nor moon nor planets, but only an immense mass of incandescent nebulous matter, where the sun is now, spinning and flaming like a gigantic Catherine wheel alone amid the stars. In other words, there was only the sun, much larger than it is at the present time. This mass cooled and contracted, leaving a ring of tenuous blazing matter like a ring of smoke around it. In the course of time, this ring formed itself into a solid ball, cooled, and became the planet Neptune. Is that really what people say happened? Dr. Law. Dr. Law says, maybe I just fart all the time. Yeah, I listen all the time. Brain fart, and I also have word vomit. I just word vomit out there. So this is the hypothesis about how Neptune came into being, but how do you know even, like, that this even would come into it, right? Like, who says that this gigantic sun became Neptune? Anyway, the sun contracted again. Oh no, more contractions. We're having birth over here. The sun contracted again, leaving another ring, which formed itself into a ball and became the planet Uranus. And so it went until Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, and then the Earth itself were created in a similar way, and to be followed later by Venus and Mercury. In this way, Laplace explained how the Earth and the planets came to be racing around the sun in the manner described by Copernicus. And strange to say, this nebular hypothesis is now taught in the schools of the 20th century with all the assurance that belongs to a scientific fact. How can that be? Uranus. Hey, guess what? Uranus has lots of volcanoes, right? Erupting volcanoes. Oh gosh. That game. We should have stole that game. We should have stole it and taken it for us to play. Oh gosh, kids at home, remember this is not a kid-friendly show. We're not condoning stealing things of anything. We don't condone that at all. But if we had been condoning that, the thing that we would steal would be that space game. Oh gosh. Okay, so again, I don't understand, but we're reiterating the fact that the way that the Uranus was formed is taught in schools as if it is a scientific fact, when it is in fact not. Yet the whole thing contradicts itself. For the laws of dynamics show that if the sun contradicted... Sorry, guys. Hold on. No, seriously. No, Tommy, you should add it. You should add that to the 3 questions. It should be 4 questions. That should be the bonus question or the tiebreaker or something. Let me put my tea back on my warmer. It's winter. Okay, yet the whole thing contradicts itself, for the laws of dynamics show that if the sun contracted, it would rotate more rapidly, and if it rotated more rapidly, that would increase the heat and so cause the mass to expand. It appears then that as every attempt to cool increases the rotation and heat and also causes further expansion, the sun must always remain as it is. It cannot get cooler or hotter, and it cannot grow bigger or less. And so it is evident that it never could leave the smoke-like rings like Laplace imagined. Therefore, we know that the Earth could not have been formed in that way and never was part of the sun. This nebular hypothesis is pure imagination, and it is probable that it was only allowed to survive because it made an attempt to justify the impossible solar system of modern astronomy. It ends in smoke. Bonus question. Oh no, is that the bonus question? How many Klingons are located on Uranus? Ah! How many people do you bet will actually try to answer that question? I bet you someone will actually try to answer that question. Oh, hey, look who made it. Welcome. Good to see you, Ray. As you can hear it. Yeah, you hear my can't do no singing. None. Where was I? Oh yeah. So it ends in smoke. I love this guy. He says it how it is. It ends in smoke. Yeah, no, definitely not. So just like a weed, which is always prolific, the nebular hypothesis soon produced another equally unscientific concept known as the atomic theory. Here we go, the atomic theory. The idea that everything that exists consists of or can be reduced to atoms was discussed by Angrockers? Erosis. No. Anx. Ant. Anx. Agronus. Antigronix. And Democritus. Way back in the days of ancient Greece. But it was not until the beginning of the 19th century that it was made to account for the creation of the entire universe. Let us dissect it. Okay, so just so that you guys know. Wait, hold on, let me catch up. Ray's here, talk to Mom. Oi, RFP. Huh? You guys are funny. Okay, wait, just to get back on track for me, we're talking about the atomic theory that these two ancient Greek dudes created. And apparently it was eventually used for the creation of the entire universe. Mm-hmm. Ray from Boston is in my chat. Yes, he is. The one and only Mud Flood Adventures, which are doing awesome, by the way. You guys should go like, bell, subscribe to Boston Ray Mud Flood Adventures for some awesome Mud Flood Adventures. An atom is the smallest conceivable particle of matter. That is smaller than the eye can see, even with the aid of a microscope. It is the smallest thing the mind of a man can imagine. And the atomic theory suggests that once upon a time, a very long way back, further way back than Laplace thought of, there was nothing to be seen anywhere. In fact, there seemed to be nothing at all but everlasting empty space. And yet that space was full of atoms smaller than the eye could see, and in some manner which no one has been able to explain, these invisible atoms whirled themselves into the most wonderful universe we now see around us. But if there had ever been a time when the whole of space was filled with atoms and nothing else but atoms in a state of unity, they must have been without motion. And being without motion, so they would have remained forever. Of course, the idea that all the elements could have existed in that uniform atomic state is preposterous and shows the whole theory of the fundamentally unsound, but if for the sake of argument, we allow the assumption to stand, the atomic condition goes crash against Newton's law of motion, which shows that everything persists in a state of rest until it is affected by some other thing outside of itself. Y'all still with me? Atoms have never been seen. Agreed. Atoms have never been seen. You can't see something that's not there. Okay, so the law of motion, which says that everything persists in a state of rest until it is affected by something else outside of itself. The tide of events now carries us along to the year of 1824, when Encake. It's probably a silent E. Enkel made the first serious attempt to find the distance to the sun, using as the means the transit of Venus. He did not take the required observations himself, but made a careful examination of the records which had been made at the transits of 17, 1761 and 1769 and estimated the sun's distance from these, employing the method advocated by Dr. Halley. Well, hold up, wait a minute, stop right there. He didn't even use his own observations. He just used the same incorrect observations that everybody else has been using and saying that this is what it is. Since when are we gonna stop doing that, huh? No, I don't know. We need to stop doing that soon. Hey, Chelsea. Good to see you. Welcome. It's an illusion. What is atoms? Yeah, atoms definitely are. Maybe, I don't know if that's what you're talking about. I was just trying to, agree with you. Okay, so this guy took the transits from 1761 and 1769 and estimated the sun's distance with the same method advocated by Dr. Halley. What is meant by the transit of Venus is the fact that the planet passing between the observer and the sun in daylight, when, by using colored or smoked glasses to protect the eyes, it may be seen as a small spot moving across the face of the solar disk. The method of finding the distance to the sun at which a time is as follows. 2 observers are to be placed as far apart as possible on the Earth as B and S in diagram 10. Oh, we got a diagram. I don't know why it feels like I keep getting worse the more I talk. Okay, let me find the diagram. We gotta find the next diagram. Diagram number 10. Ariel's finding diagram number 10. We're gonna open it up. Oh, hey, she did it in one shot. Diagram number 10. Diagram number 10. Diagram number 10, 10, 10, 10. Got diagram number 10. Okay. Diagram number 10. 2 observers are to be placed as far apart as possible on the Earth as B and S on the diagram. From these positions, B will see Venus across the face of the sun along the dotted line 2, while S will see the planet projected nearer to the top edge of the sun, moving along line 1. The distance which separates the 2 projections of Venus along the solar disk, indicated by the short vertical line 1 to 2, will bear a certain proportionate relation to the baseline or diameter of the Earth, which separates the observers B and S. On referring to the 3rd law of Kepler, laid down in the 17th century, it is calculated that the ratio of the line 1-2, as compared with the line BS, will be as 100 is to 37. Okay, so one is shorter than the other. Okay, so the line of 1 to 2, and in compared with the line from B to S, is as 100 is to 37. Consequently, if we know the dimensions of the triangulation from B to S to Venus in as simple matter, Consequently, gosh, guys. Having issues over here. Consequently, if we know the dimensions of the triangle from B to S, from B and S to Venus, it is a simple matter to find the dimensions of the triangle from Venus to the points 1, 2 by the formula as 100 is to 37. Further, when we have found the number of miles that are represented by the space which separates the two dotted lines on the face of the sun, we can use the line 1, 2 as though it were a yardstick or ruler and measure the size of the sun from top to bottom. Such is the method which NK used in his study on the records of transit of Venus, which has been made 50 years before, and it is stated on the most reliable authority that the results he obtained were accepted without question. In round figures, he made the sun to be about 97 million miles from the Earth and 880,000 miles from top to bottom. All this seems reasonable enough, and it certainly is ingenious, and yet the observers were not, as a matter of fact, placed at the poles, nor were they diametrically opposite to each other as in the diagram, but they observed the transit of Venus from two other points not so favorably placed, and so allowances, quote unquote allowances, had to be made in order to find that the dimensions of the triangle BS Venus would have been if the observers had been there to see the transit. Wait, hold on. Oh, these sentences. The observers were not, as a matter of fact, placed at the poles, nor were they diametrically opposite to each other as in the diagram, but they observed that the transit of Venus from two other points not so favorably placed, and so allowances had to be made in order to find what the dimensions of the triangle BS Venus would have been if the observers had been there to see the transit. And in making these allowances, our astronomers were all unconscious of the fact that if the observers really had been there, as in the diagram and as illustrated in all books and lectures on the subject, they could not both have seen Venus at the same time, because A and B are upside down with retrospect to each other. These, their two horizons are opposite and parallel to each other, and the planet could not be above the two horizons at the same time. But the allowances were made, nevertheless, and the triangle, which, as we see, was more metaphysical than real, was referred to as the third law of Kepler, which has been designed to fit a theory of the solar system which, so far, has not been supported by a single fact. The result of the entire proceeding was nil. No questions? Oh, no, I'm sorry. I've got questions. You got questions? Hey, Chelsea, you got questions? Come on, give me your questions if you got questions. I would love questions if you have questions, because reading this, I've got plenty of questions, and most of my questions are still just to the fact of how can I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain around the fact that so many scientists and astronomers have touched this subject in one way, shape, or form, and simply taken what has already been done And instead of verifying it or doing it themselves, they just continue to use the same information. Wait, is this clear, or are we listening to lies? No. So this book, it is describing how the lies became, or how the lies were established. The gentleman with very long sentences he explains how each astronomer or scientist came to their conclusion with their theories, their laws, and their facts that are not facts. And he's explaining why they're not facts. Yeah. So, the third law of Kepler is just, it is not a law in any way, shape, or form. And yet we still go around and we're telling people that these are laws, these are facts. Oh, wait, let me go back to last chapter. Last chapter said that the distance to the moon is so positively settled, it is known with greater accuracy than the length of any street in Paris. Like, you guys, you cannot make assumptions on that when you can't even do your diagram correctly. I mean, look at this. We're supposed to be on separate opposite sides of the plane, of the plane, the flat plane, and yet when you did the experiment, you had to make so many allowances that to make it fit. Like, I just can't. Anyway, this book is definitely enlightening. You guys, I think I might try to speed up my reading process. Not actually reading, but I might try to read twice a week or something like that. Just so that we can read more of it, and so that I don't forget what we learned. And then that way I can put it all together in one video, the book, learning about the book. Do you guys have was there any specific thing that I read that you found interesting tonight? Would love to hear your feedback on any of the two chapters, 5 and 6. The moon. So the first thing we talked about was the moon, and how the two Frenchmen, they stood opposite each other and said that this was, this is the distance to the moon, and then how some other guys took some old observations from some older guys and said, well, that's what they did, and this is what we got from these same calculations from 1,000 years ago. So I just, man, whatever. So stay tuned. I might be here on Thursday to read chapters 7 and 8. Maybe 7, 8, and 9, just depending on how small, fast, long, short. Oh, it looks like the chapters get a little bit longer. Oh, okay, so chapters 7 and 8 might just be 7 and 8 by themselves. That might not be able to get 9 in there. So we're going to have fun with 7 and 8 next time. We could focus this entire a bit towards the reality we want to create. We could. We really could. But we spend so much time doing the opposite, right? We are just perpetuating what's already been programmed into us to do. But we need to stop doing that. Okay, so that was 5 and 6. Thank you. Appreciate you, Dog RR, for coming by. Thanks for stopping. I appreciate you. Maybe we'll see you on Thursday. I don't know. We'll see. I definitely will be here for Sisterhood of the Woke Warrior Queens Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Steffi P. Steffi P is going to come through. I'm going to meet her, going to chat with her, and learn her journey. And I'm excited to find out what information she has to teach us, because she's on lots of stuff, lots of different channels. She's got lots of info. So let me just shout out to everyone. Oh wait, let me see. There we go. I gotta find out where we are. Yay! I had fun with that too. I did. You're so cool. I appreciate you guys for coming. Flatlandic was so cool. I had fun in the pool too. That was fun. I'm sorry. Hold on. Don't leave, guys. I'm trying to do something for you. I'm trying to. Here we go. We are family. All my brothers, sisters, my sisters, and me. Hey, we are family. Yeah. There we go. Hey, Lava. How's it going? Good to see you. And I got something for you, too. There we go. All right. So, I will be around, I guess. So catch me definitely at 4 p.m. on Sunday for Sisterhood of the Woke Warrior Queens with Steffi P. All ladies welcome, and dudes, you can show up if you want to. And maybe catch me on Thursday. We'll see how I'm feeling. I don't know. I don't want to keep reading if I'm going to be coughing and stuff. Hopefully this will be gone by then. We just had so much fun at Flatlandic. I had to detox from it. So that's going to be it for me, guys. I'm going to play us out. And love you!
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow. I can go anywhere, friends to know and ways to grow, a reading rainbow. I can be anything. Take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow.